let's see how to install VirtualBox on Windows 11. We'll start by opening the web browser and going to virtualbox.org. Here, we click on the big blue Download button, and as you can see, VirtualBox is available for all of the major operating systems. We are going to choose the option for Windows, and VirtualBox is being downloaded. The installer size is about 100 MB. Okay, the installer was downloaded. Let's run it to start the installation. We can change the installation folder and choose which components of VirtualBox will be installed, but I'm just going to leave everything with its default value. So let's click on Next. Here we get a warning that our network interfaces might momentarily disconnect. It's okay, let's click on Next. And VirtualBox also needs some dependencies which it's going to install. So Next, again. And Install. And VirtualBox was successfully installed. I'll leave this box checked to start VirtualBox as soon as I close the installer. And here we have our VirtualBox Manager, and we also got a shortcut right on the desktop. To actually create a virtual machine, we're going to need an ISO file. An ISO file is the standard way to install virtual machines on VirtualBox, so we're going to need one. We can find such ISO files for Windows virtual machines and, of course, for many Linux distros. For this demonstration, let's get the Ubuntu ISO file. So let's get back to our web browser, and this time, I'll go to ubuntu.com. And let's click on Download. And we'll go with Ubuntu Desktop. And as you can see, here we can find two versions. We can find the LTS version and the latest version overall. LTS stands for long-term support, and LTS versions are supported for at least several years. The interim versions are only supported for a short period of about 9 months, so for most people, it's recommended to go with the LTS versions. That's what I'll go with, so let's download this ISO file. We need to wait for a second, and the download starts. The ISO file is big and takes a long time to download, so I already downloaded it before. So I can stop this download. You're probably going to have to wait for your download to finish, but mine is supposed to already be in the Downloads folder. And here it is, Ubuntu 22.04.iso. Let's now get back to VirtualBox. And we want to create a new virtual machine, so let's click on New. We need to give a name to our new virtual machine, and we can also change the folder in which it will be saved. But I'll go with the default. Next, we need to choose the ISO image, and this is the file we just downloaded. It should be in our Downloads folder, so let's click here, then Other, and now I'll navigate to my Downloads folder. And here's my ISO file, so let's choose it. And we can see that VirtualBox Auto detected that this ISO file is for Linux installation, specifically Ubuntu 64-bit. This is great, so let's click on Next. We now need to specify a username for this new virtual machine, and we also need to provide a password. We can also change the host name, which is the name of the virtual machine itself. And it's also highly recommended to install the guest editions, which will give us all kinds of benefits and improve the workflow with the virtual machine. So this is done. Let's click on Next. Next, we need to decide how much RAM memory we want to allocate to the virtual machine. Ubuntu should work just fine with 2 GB, but I'll give it a bit more since I can afford it, considering the amount of RAM memory in my physical host. In any case, make sure you don't enter the red region. If you do, you run the risk of your host machine crashing. We also need to choose how many processors we want to allocate. My host has 12 of them, so I can allocate 2 to the virtual machine without any concern. We need to create a new virtual hard disk, and we can choose how big we want it to be. I'll go with the default, which is 25 GB. Here, we get a summary of the configuration of the new virtual machine, so let's click on Finish. And the virtual machine is powering up. Let's close this message box. And Ubuntu is automatically installed on the virtual machine. This process does take a while, so better have some patience. So it took quite a while, but the installation is finally done, and the virtual machine automatically restarts. Now, we can log in with the username we chose. And of course, we also have to type in the password. We have the option to connect to a few online accounts, but I'll skip it for now. We can also enable Ubuntu Pro, but I'll skip on that as well. And we can choose if we want to send some usage information back to Canonical, the company behind Ubuntu. We can choose if we want to share our location with applications on this machine. Finally, we can click on Done. Now we can click on View, and let's switch to full screen mode. And the shortcut for full screen mode is the right control key, plus F. And using this keyboard shortcut is also how we get out of the full screen mode. And here you have it, a fully functional Ubuntu virtual machine ready for work.